Here we go.
Do it.
Okay, cool.
Here we go.
Welcome back to Coffin Talkin', where we unravel the mysteries, embrace the peculiar, and find humor in the unconventional world of funerals and death. I'm Holly.
Hi,
Here's
Holly.
Frank.
Hi, Holly.
Hi, Dad.
Welcome back. Welcome back, coffiners. Hope you're having
Welcome
fun.
back.
Hope you're having fun this time of year, and because we are.
Yeah. Are your Halloween decorations up?
No, sadly.
Is that from decree from Lisa?
You know, it isn't, but I have been getting home so late that by the time I get home, it's just not... I have no desire to put up my Halloween decorations, which is sad because this is a fun time of year for me. And when the decorations aren't on, I see other decorations. You know that springy pumpkin that we have?
Springy pumpkin.
Yeah,
I love that one.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's out.
Oh, okay.
Outside.
That's a cute one.
It is cute. But no, we don't have any. There are no decorations up. Maybe I'll get some up today. Who knows? But for a week, if even that, is it a week? It's less than a week. 5 days. I don't know. Would it be worth it?
Well, do you have any plans for Halloween night?
No, I'm going to actually, for the last couple of years, we haven't been home. So, and that's why I was kind of excited about it this year, but I have no plans but to maybe watch a movie and hand out candy. I'll have my fire pit out front like I always do, and then we just see the treaters as they come around, and that's it. Nothing major.
That's it.
That's
That's fun. Do you have
a
movie on deck?
No.
Is it going to be a freaky one? Is Mom going to be upstairs?
Mom won't be probably watching it because we probably won't even watch one. Yeah, any more than the shows that the shows that I do watch are, I mean, it's hard to find a real good PG movie.
Yeah, one that doesn't go like too creepy or too far.
And there are a lot of thriller ones out there that I'd really like to watch, but of course they're rated R.
What about Munger Road?
What? Munger Road.
What about Munger Road?
I could watch the first half of it again. For those of you that don't know and have watched Munger Road, we were so disappointed. Holly and I had found a video at Blockbuster for that.
At Blockbuster, yes.
That's going to date me for a little bit there. But the movie was titled Munger Road, and we watched it, and it kind of ended weird. And so we looked at the disc.
It was like in a cliffhanger, almost.
It was like part one, right?
It was definitely like part one.
We got to throw in the other disc or try to put in the other video or VHS, whatever it was, and see part two, but there was no part two. And so we started looking for part two, and we had to look it up online, and they said they ran out of money.
But at one point, you had thought, I think that you found a video that said Munger Road Part 2.
That's right, I did.
And so we started watching it, and it was part one, but we're like, okay, they're probably doing back to back, so let's watch part one again. Gets to the end of part one, and nothing came.
Nothing. It was the same place.
It was the exact same thing.
Well, that's merchandising for you.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, we could watch Munger Road again. I don't know.
Yeah, you could watch Munger Road. Oh man.
I felt really bad when I looked at it and go, well, get the funds together, man. Finish the show. Those poor actors.
So funny.
Yeah.
It ended in the weirdest way too. It was very sudden. Maybe they ran out of money right in the middle of it. They're like, we can't shoot anymore.
That's my thought process on some of these stories. They just end. I just whatever. I can't. No, my funds are gone to my brain. It's gone.
Sorry, coffiners. That's enough.
We're done. Mm-hmm.
We're done with that.
What about you guys? What are you guys gonna do?
I don't know that we have any plans, honestly. We'll probably just sit out and pass out candy.
Will you sit with the people upstairs?
Yeah, I think so. That should be the plan.
Do you get along with them?
Yeah, we get along really well with them, and they have the three of the sweetest children in the world that I've ever met. I was going to say one of their kids, when I was leaving, was bouncing on the trampoline, and he saw us leaving, and he goes, "Bye, Kaden and Holly," and maybe was outside, and he's going, maybe, like trying to lure her to the trampoline. It was so funny, and I feel so loved from them. It's amazing.
And of course, maybe ran right to the trampoline that could have crushed her at any moment.
Oh,
so,
yeah. She has no fear.
Yeah, well, have any of the kids mentioned a missing mouse?
No, they have not.
Oh man, I still think that mouse was a pet.
But we talked to our landlord about it, and he said that he has seen a mouse in the yard before.
Okay.
Yeah. So we told him, you can loan out Nelson anytime.
Oh boy, just point Nelson in the direction of
honestly
the mouse, where you saw the mouse. Maybe he'll pick up the scent. Yeah,
he'll pick up the scent.
Okay,
so how was your week?
Good. We had our little community activity last evening with regards to welcoming fall, which is always a fun little thing.
Movie in the park. That is so fun.
Mm-hmm. And there were not as many people there this year as there were last year, only because of, I think, homecoming. The high school was the homecoming game. The game, today's homecoming. But the game itself would have taken a lot of the youth over there to watch the game. So, but otherwise, it was good. It was fun. We had our popcorn and Junior Mints, because they're minty. And then and our drinks and our little seats, and we were just chilling out, relaxing, ready to watch the show. Yeah, it was fun. Met a couple of new people.
And you said the movie was Inside Out too.
Yep. It was it's cute.
I still haven't seen that, and I want to see it so bad. I love the Inside Out movies.
When did it come out?
I guess the first one. I think it came out this year.
Okay. Yeah, I was kind of surprised.
It's fairly new.
Yeah, people said that they had just barely watched it, and I thought, that must be a fairly new show. It is cute, though, and so if you haven't seen it, recommend it. It's a cute show.
Cute show. All right. Righty-dighty. Shall we get into it?
Let's go.
Let's be frank.
Oh, boy. As a disclaimer, I'm going to just state, I hope you're enjoying the stories. And this one in particular, I really have not really thought much about, but for this time of year, Holly, I'm just going to ask a question before we begin. If you had to pinpoint one spot in the house that was scary to you, what would it be, or could be scary?
Anywhere that people could hide. So for me, that's in the closet.
Okay.
That is okay. Truthfully, I have stuffed a lot of things under our bed. Okay. So that in my mind, I know nothing can be under there. Okay. Except for the cats. Mm-hmm. They love it. It's like a maze to them.
Sure.
Where else? I would just, I do always, this is when we had a shower curtain, because we're in one of those glass ones now, whatever. Yeah. The square ones. Yep. There's the psycho moments. Whenever I came home and I went to the bathroom, I always checked behind the curtain, make sure no one's there. Sometimes I would just punch the curtain.
Oh, jeez. Wait for either contact or someone to yell, "Stop it!"
Stop!
Whoa! Or to exactly. Or to hear a slip into the tub. Boom.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm running. But I'd say just anywhere that people could hide. Little crawl spaces are always scary. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So this story centers around a mother and her son. And on one beautiful summer day, as they were enjoying the outside and the nice warm weather that was taking place around there, they both had just an enjoyable day. And their father, or her husband, his father, and it revolves around Jeremy, who's 9, and his mother, Betty. And so Betty and Jeremy were enjoying the summer day, and they were enjoying it by themselves because their father, or her husband, was off to war. He was in the military.
Oh no!
And so as he was away from them, she would always try and find activities that would occupy Jeremy's mind, because that was his father's job. His father would always create activities that would allow him to expand his imagination, his ability to actually go forward and do new things, try new things, activities. And on this particular day, they had just come home. He had showered. Jeremy had showered. Betty was downstairs trying to get things organized for dinner. And dinner was set and on the table, ready to go, when she hears a knock on the door. And as she goes, she looks at Jeremy, goes, "Are you expecting any friends?" And Jeremy says, "No." So she walks over to the door, and as she opens the door, there stand two individuals. And of course, we know that what that means, right? The individuals state to Betty, "We're sorry to inform you that your husband has been killed in action."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so she was fearful that Jeremy may have heard that. And so she just put her finger to her lips. And just because she wanted to be the one to break it to Jeremy, she didn't want to have two strangers coming to a door and announcing the death of his father. After kind of composing herself and excusing the two gentlemen, she turned around and there was Jeremy on the stairs. And she turned around and she looked at Jeremy and she said, "How much of that conversation did you hear?" And he said, "Enough." He said, "I know Dad's dead." And so that was kind of the way that Jeremy was broken into and forced in that moment in his mental capacity to actually change the way that he enjoyed life, and now looking at it as more of a responsible person.
Mm-hmm. How old was Jeremy? Did I miss that?
9.
He was 9. Okay.
9. And neither one of them were hungry at that point. Jeremy went to his bedroom and he started to just lay down and started to think about his dad. And was wondering what it was, when he would see him again, because obviously they would be making arrangements to try and get him back home. And he was kind of wondering when he would be able to see him again. And so in the midst of these thoughts, he started to dream and doze off. And he was sound asleep when he was awakened by a sound that he thought was coming from the room. And it was a scratching sound that he could hear on the floor. And he looked up at his father was in the Air Force and he flew planes, and he's had this beautiful mobile that was up hanging on the roof or on the ceiling. And he could see the mobile start to turn and rotate just a little bit. And he thought, that's weird. There's no wind. There's no air. And as he looked through his room, because he could still hear the sound was still going on. And it was coming from a place that was kind of scary to him to begin with. And that was under his bed.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And so he was hearing the scratching sound that was coming from under his bed, and he just didn't know what to do. He didn't want to move. He didn't want to call out to his mother because he knew that she was going through some traumatic things right now as well. So in his 9-year-old brain, he just thought, well, I'll just pull the covers up to my chin and I'll just kind of sit here in bed and just kind of keep my eyes open and make sure that nothing attacks me.
9-year-old brain, that keeps us all safe.
So he's got his covers up from his, and he pulls his covers up tighter around his head, up to his nose. And then before he knew it, the sun was up, and it was the next day. He walks he finally gets courageous enough to put his foot out of the bed onto the floor, casually and cautiously, thinking that someone at any moment was going to grab his foot.
Yeah.
And he gets down on his hands and knees and he looks under the bed, and sure enough, it's as clean as could be. Nothing. There's no marks of a scratching sound, nothing. And so he walks downstairs and he starts to get his breakfast, and his mother says, "Did you sleep okay, Jeremy?" And Jeremy said, "No, not really." And he goes, and she said, "Yeah, I know it's kind of hard with what news we've been given. It was hard for me to sleep as well." Well, he didn't think at all about his father. It wasn't his father. Scared. It wasn't his father that kept him awake. It was something else that was happening within his room. So he was afraid to kind of mention anything like that to his mother. Well, the next night came and he hears the same noise. And it was at about 3:00 in the morning, obviously. About 3:00 in the morning when he hears the scratching sound again. And this time he hears a little bit of a scurry on the floor, like someone shuffling along the floor. And he recognizes that maybe something is more now mobile than what it was before. And now maybe they're taking a different... Anyway, his mind is just racing at 100 miles an hour before he could really get into anything overzealous in his own brain. He jumps out of bed, runs to his mom's room, and he says, Mom, something's in my bedroom. His mom opens her eyes and oh my gosh, just a minute, Jeremy, let me go with you. And so she walks through the room, goes through the whole room, opens the doors, opens the closets, and lets Jeremy see that there is nothing. She looks under the bed. There's nothing in the room. There is nothing in this room. Well, this same type of pattern happened for the next couple of days. And finally, the mother said, Jeremy, you need to be able to just stay in your bed. Please, just stay in your bed. There's nothing in your room.
Mm-hmm.
So after that little bit of a discourse or discussion, the same thing happened that very, very evening. Only this time it was a little earlier. And he didn't say anything. He just got slowly out of bed, walked casually to his mother's room, and laid himself next to her in her bed.
Mm-hmm.
She woke up with him not lying next to him, said, Jeremy, come on, you really need to, I don't know what's going on. And then she started thinking, well, maybe he's having adverse effects because of the notice of his father passing. And so she kind of gives him a stern warning that he needs to be a little more grown up, a little bit more mature in understanding what it is that's taking place. Be brave about it. Know that there is nothing in your room. And she tries to tell him a story about what happened to her when she was younger, and then recognizing that it was just leaves on the outside of the house, even though she could hear them, like what seemed to be scurrying motions or sounds outside on the porch. And she'd open the door and realize it was just flower or leaves that were being blown by the wind.
Uh-huh.
And so she says, probably that's what's happening in your room. So Jeremy, just try to relax and be calm about everything. Well, Jeremy thinks of another idea. He says, so if there's no monsters, Mom, then I guess you're right. I guess if that happened with you, maybe it's the same thing that's happening with me. But she witnesses him doing something that she never really expected Jeremy to do. And so he goes outside and he grabs a sack of dirt. And in this dirt, he just puts it in a sack. And then she asks, what are you doing? He says, oh, nothing. But in the course of his conversation with her, after her leaving and doing whatever she's going to do, he's in his room and he's devising some sort of a trap. So he's got a basket that's on a string and it's hanging just above his bed line at the foot end. And so he's made a little bit of what an ingenious little boy, but he devises a string that he tests, and he pulls the string and the basket falls to the floor. Okay, great. This is working. So he takes some dirt and he spreads it all over the floor. And then he also puts some water down there. And so between the water and the dirt makes mud, correct?
Yeah.
So the mother isn't thinking much about it, but Jeremy earlier in the evening says, Mom, I'm going to go up to bed. So here he has his basket trap on a rope. And then he's got some water on the floor with some dirt mixed into it. And what he's trying to do is figure out if the person's walking. And if there is a physical person or a sound where it gets to the specific sound where he always hears it, he's just going to drop that basket over this individual. Mm-hmm. So the night comes, and sure enough, the sounds happen. There's that scratching motion. And here he's thinking, oh my gosh, it's right where it needs to be. And he's pretending he's asleep, thinking that this individual is going to be right at the foot of his bed. But before he gives that individual any opportunity to stand or make any noise or lunge at him or anything, he pulls the string, and sure enough, the basket comes down. He's all excited and he runs out of bed and he jumps to his mom's room and says, Mom, look.
I caught it.
I caught it. You got to come. So she comes into the room, and this time she's furious. She's very angry because she's already had this conversation with him saying that you can't be doing things like this. And so she walks into the room and sees the basket on the floor, sees the mud that has been created, and is now furious because of what have you done to your room, Jeremy? This has to stop. Now I've got to clean all this up. And he says, Mom, sometimes I caught the monster. And she said, what? Is he under the basket, Jeremy? And she lifts the basket and there's no one there. Jeremy's face just drops as though he's just been totally deflated from any type of excitement that he may have been experiencing, thinking that he had actually trapped and captured a monster. Mm-hmm. No footprints in the mud, nothing. So she's angry. She said, Jeremy, this has to stop. You get back into bed. So he got back up into bed. And the morning rolled around. Mom looks out over her bed as she wakes up, and there's Jeremy on a quilt on her floor because he didn't want to wake her by getting into bed with her.
Mm-hmm.
So there he is on the floor, obviously scared again from something in his room, and it's caused him to go to her room to sleep. She says, Jeremy, and she has this talk with him again. And in the middle of the day, she says, I have an idea. Let's go through your room. And then she looks at him and she goes, and this is the type of game that his father would play with him. She looks at him and goes, oh my gosh, did you hear that? Hurry, get on your hands and knees. Make your way through the room. See, scour every inch of the room. See if you can find anything. And she's doing the same thing on this. So he's on one side of the bed. She's on the other. And they're actually going through on hands and kind of like military styles, crawling
Army
on their
crawl.
belly. Yeah, army crawl, going on their belly across the floor. And she's yelling out, did you see anything private? And no, I haven't seen anything. And he's got his little helmet on and he's all excited about everything that's taking place and transpiring. And he grabs his gun. Grab your gun, private. Grab your gun. Shoot up he's under the bed. He's under the bed. And so he grabs his gun and it's one of these guns where you can pull the trigger and you can hear the rapid fire of the machine gun going off. So he's just going like crazy under the bed and he's just and he's just trying to, and he gets up on top of the bed and shooting all the way across the top of the bed and he's shooting through the window. And oh my gosh, Jeremy's just going crazy, shooting up everything in sight.
Jeez, Jeremy.
And I thought to myself as I'm in my mind thinking, okay, get down, Betty, because he's coming after
seriously.
you.
Yikes.
But Betty is just as calm as can be, and she's lying on the floor. Jeremy says, he looks up over the bed, and at the same time his mom gets up, and both Betty and Jeremy look at each other in the eyes, and Jeremy's in a full sweat at this point because of the actions and the amount of energy that he's expanded. And he looks at his mom and he said, did we get the monster? And she said, Jeremy, we did. We got the monster. Ooh. So he takes a big sigh of relief, just a big breath and saying, oh my gosh, yay. Hooray, my room's clear. So they go down for lunch. And they have lunch and everything seems to be fine. Everything seems to be working out well. Jeremy looks out in the yard and he recognizes a couple of his friends that he have kind of ostracized him because of the way he was acting, because his actions at home at night were now being transferred to his actions at school. And so none of his friends would really want to associate with him because he'd go off on this tangent of a monster and become unbelievably hard to deal with or to be with because of his actions regarding this fictitious thing that's happening in his home. So he looks out and he kind of reminisces just a little bit about his friends. And he's just wondering, well, it's over. So maybe I should go out and play with my friends. And as he looks at his friends playing outside, he realizes that no, things have changed. I'm no longer that Jeremy of the 8-year-old Jeremy. I'm now someone different. And he watches his friends, and sure enough, they end as he's taking bites of his sandwich. And he goes outside and kind of mulls on his own and sits and stews a little bit on the porch. And so evening comes, they have dinner, they go back upstairs, and he's getting ready for bed. And his mom looks at him and says, well, Jeremy, are you ready for a good night's sleep now that the monster's gone? He said, yeah, Mom, I am. And so he puts on his dad's dog tags. And he has them on his chest, which his mom has never liked. She had never wanted him to wear his dad's dog tags because it's part of this shrine that she had erected in her room regarding his father. And so whenever the dog tags were taken, she would notice that something was missing, and obviously Jeremy would have them. So, but this particular night was not a big deal. For some reason, she just felt like maybe that's what he needed to just kind of keep him comforted. As she started to walk out the door of his room, he looks at her and he says, hey, Mom, thanks for helping me get the monster. And she said, yeah, I'm happy to have been able to help, Jeremy. So he lays down and he's just kind of humming and thinking things. And then his mom starts asking things, and they start asking some questions, and they start a small little conversation. And she sits on the bed, and she's talking to him and realizes that Jeremy's starting to get sleepy because she's caressing his head and his forehead. And as she stands up to leave, she says, well, sleep tight, hon. And she walks towards the door, and she hears what she thought was like a growl.
Oh, no.
And she stops and she looks at Jeremy, and Jeremy's still kind of asleep, and she hears the growl again. And she goes, Jeremy? And Jeremy at this moment opens his eyes, hears the growl at the same time, and yells, Mom! And just then, Betty's feet were taken, and she was dragged under the bed, and she, Mom!
Is that it?
That's it, Holly.
Oh, my gosh.
It's a Munger Road story.
It's my Oh my gosh, no.
So coffiners, go ahead and build that wherever you want it to build. Doesn't matter. Wow.
Yeah, poor Jeremy. Wow. Can't catch a break.
Poor Betty.
Poor Betty.
I believe you, Jeremy. She yells,
I believe you.
Sorry, I didn't believe you, Jeremy. Okay, whatever. That's funny.
Yeah, too late, Betty.
Yeah. You deserve it, Mom.
I told you.
I'll tell you. What's for dinner? Oh, well.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay. Well, there you go, Holly.
Jeremy has no more friends, no more parents.
Yeah, he's kind of ostracized. And now what's going to happen to him? And then can you believe him trying to tell the authorities what happened to his mom?
I know.
They're going
to blame him.
He's going to end up in a psych ward.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, Jeremy.
With a bed that will be on the floor.
Yeah.
So nothing.
There's no under the bed.
Yeah. What do you mean he's under the bed? Come on. And coffiners, whenever you hear sounds at the night, they'll go bump in the night. I think sometimes I hear those still, and I always wonder, where did that come from?
Yeah, me too.
In your mind, you just run through. Was that from under the bed? Hold it. I've got stuff under the bed. I've got some maze of things. It's probably just Nelson.
That's right. It's probably just Nelson. For sure, maybe.
Yeah, for sure, maybe. Oh, mother. Oh, for sure, maybe.
For sure, maybe.
Now, coffiners, you have to realize she has two cats. One's named Nelson and one's named Maybe.
Yeah.
For sure, maybe.
For sure, maybe. We'll see you next time, coffiners.
Yep. See you soon. Talk to you later. Thanks, Holly.